Hi everyone, this is Dr. Lanier, and this is for Computers and Writing, English 479, 579, and I'm going to be talking about animated GIFs for just a little while, just a very brief lecture to discuss them with you. We have a whole module that's dedicated to animated GIFs, how they're used, their history, um, how they affect different types of communication, and so forth. And so I just wanted to take a moment to talk a little bit about them. And you should obviously do the readings for this module to learn a lot more about them. Okay. You have a final assignment for animated GIFs for the module, and that's what we're looking at right here. I would like you to create 2 animated GIFs and turn in. You don't have an analysis to do for this assignment. You only have the animated GIFs to do. Now, the first animated GIF is very simple. I have this Eat at Joe's GIF that I created on Adobe Photoshop, and it's very simple. It's just to show you how animated GIFs are made, so that you can make your own. I'm going to require at the very end of this semester that the final project that you create a very complicated animated GIF, and this is kind of your springboard into that. The way you make this very easy GIF is the exact same way you're going to make a very complicated GIF at the end. Okay. The second GIF that I've included here that I'd like you to make is drawn from a video. That's this surface of the sun video that I used. Now, the very first one, this Eat at Joe's GIF, it was created again using Adobe Photoshop. If you're using GIMP, because you don't have access to Adobe Photoshop, it's created the exact same way. I have a separate tutorial that I'm going to have available for you on how to make that. So you can go watch that tutorial that will walk you through exactly how to make that. This second one, I used an online GIF creation website called Giphy.com, and I walk you through how to make it right here for this second GIF. Okay, and those are the 2 things that I would like you to make for this assignment. Turn them both in, and you'll be fine if you do that. Again, no analysis for this first assignment, just the GIFs. Okay, but let's talk a little bit about GIFs. What are they? Well, first of all, GIF is spelled G-I-F, and it's pronounced GIF, not GIF. I don't care what anybody tells you. It's pronounced GIF. It stands for Graphic Interchange Format. It was created back in the 80s, I believe by CompuServe maybe, as a new method of compressing images. Now, what's unique about a GIF is that you can create movement with a GIF. You can simulate animation with a GIF, so it looks like it's kind of a miniature movie, but it's really an image. Now, the way it's working here, if you see that Eat at Joe's, the GIF is made up of layers, okay? And what happens is there's a tiny bit of instruction that asks it to pull apart one layer so that you can see what's underneath that layer. Now, the Eat at Joe's is made with actually, technically it's made with 6 layers, but just think of it as 3 layers, okay? There's a blue layer, red layer, and a yellow layer. And each of those have another layer of text on top of them, which you don't notice, but those could be the same layer, but essentially 3 layers. This blue, red, and then yellow layer. Now, what you see is it starts with the blue layer. That's the very first layer on top. And then the instruction is for it to make that blue layer go away, and then you see the red layer underneath. Then the red layer goes away, and you see the yellow layer underneath. So it's not really changing. There's really, it's the perception. It's an illusion of movement. Second layer works the exact same way. With Giphy, all you have to do is enter the URL of a video that you want to create a GIF from, tell it which part of that video you want the GIF to be created in and how long that GIF should be, and it will create that GIF. And essentially what it's doing is it's creating a GIF with maybe 100 different layers. So whenever you see this surface of the sun kind of blowing up, that's a single is very quickly. That's one, maybe that's, I don't know, 50 different layers right there just to make that part. So it has a picture, and that first picture disappears, and you see the layer underneath it. And that layer disappears, and you see the layer underneath that one. And it just keeps on going, okay? And really that's how all images are, or all moving images are made. They're just a series of images that run along a kind of a linear play line that gives this illusion of movement. Have you ever created a flip book cartoon where it's one picture and you flip it and the picture's changed a little bit, and if you flip that book enough, it looks like somebody's running or something's happening? That's how GIFs are made, but it's compressed into a single file. I know that's a lot more information than you ever wanted. One of your readings has the history of the GIF and how it works, and it becomes a lot more technical, but I really want you to know how that works, okay? Now, within professional communication, I've already mentioned this in your intro video, GIFs are very important in that they can be used for something very important. It can be used to show users very specific information, okay? Now, GIFs weren't always so helpful. When a lot of people think of animated GIFs, they kind of laugh because they're thinking of something like this. This is the Captain Marvel movie website, and I thought it was a brilliant website when it was made. Because Captain Marvel, if you haven't seen the movie, it was set back in the mid-90s or late 90s, and at the period of when it was set, this is the kind of website you would have seen. There was something called GeoCities out there, in which you could create a very simple website, and you see all these animated GIFs being used. That's what we were using back on the websites back then. So, for example, she pops out. For example, this email ampersand here, is that what it's called? The little email @ sign just keeps spinning around. That was pretty common. Some type of banner that would change colors, that was common. This person dropping down all of this stuff was very common. Info and so forth. That was kind of how websites are made. I thought this was a brilliant website when they made it, because it's such a throwback to when the movie was set. But isn't that ugly? We were using animated GIFs for one purpose back then, and that was for decoration. Now, if you ever take one of my just strict technical communication courses and I go over the use of graphics in technical or professional communication, I say there are 3 reasons to use graphics: to show how something is made, to show how to do something, or to show how the result of something. And that's it. Now, what's missing from there are decoration. Decoration is not truly a purpose for using any images or any graphics in technical communication. Now, I understand graphic design is a little bit different than simply using graphics, but her head popping out there, what does that mean? And what is this Carol Danvers animated GIF? I mean, what purpose is that serving? If it's not serving one of those 3 purposes, and if it's not for the general graphic design of the website, then it just becomes annoying, just like her. It just becomes annoying because it's just moving over and over and over. When we were building websites back in the late 1990s, we had something called flashing banner ads, which is essentially what this Eat at Joe's was. You would go to a website and somebody would have an advertisement on the website that looked kind of like that Eat at Joe's banner. If you clicked that, it would take you to Joe's website, maybe a restaurant website or something. But then, and it was very effective. These banners were very effective at first, and then they became a kind of a laughingstock. People stopped seeing. In fact, they called it banner blindness. Studies show that we just got used to seeing these banners and we ignored them, and that's kind of what happened here with all these different type of animated GIFs. So when we talk about, in terms of professional communication, in terms of technical communication, when we talk about animated GIFs as a mode of communication, we are talking about for very specific purposes. Okay, so think of just those purposes. Now I'm going to show you a website. If I can find it here, used cars, Ling's used cars. I used to have an assignment in. I've had it in a few different courses. I think it was writing for the web or something, and I asked students to go find an example of a terrible website, and invariably half the class would come back with this website. This is Ling's Used Cars, located in England. I think this is it. Yep, this is it. Now just count the number of animated GIFs here. Oh, I love Boris Johnson doing his little dance here. Here's Ling's head moving around. Various animated GIFs all over the place. Everything's flashing and moving. And it just becomes too much to really see. Oh my gosh, Paisley. That's even worse. Wow, everything old is new again. I used to have a shirt that looked a lot like that. In any case, this is what happens when you use animated GIFs for decoration or just to try to draw attention to something. It just becomes too much. It's hard to focus on any one thing on this website. So obviously, this website should burn. And I shouldn't say that. This is a beautiful website because it shows us how terrible it can be, right? It's over the top. I mean, this is like, how can I put this? Well, anyway, this is just an over-the-top example of a website just going too far. So that's not what we're going to use it for. Instead, we're going to use it to help communication, make communication easier. We want to give people information. We want to make it easier for them to understand, easier for them to use information, access information, and so forth for whatever project we use. Now, I want you to start thinking about how can I use animated GIFs for a particular problem. If I have to show somebody how to do something, or if I have a procedure or something like that, could an animated GIF be useful there? Let me show you some different examples of animated GIFs in action being used for the right purpose. So here, for example, we have a figure, and I believe this is it's the difference of heart disease by counties in the United States between 1973 right here and 2010 right here. We've got two different figures, 1973, 1974, two different images I should say, and 2009 to 2010. Now you're meant to look at this figure and tell that in New Mexico, for example, there were, I guess that's less heart disease in 1973, 1974 than 2000, 2010. Let's blow it up and see if that's what that actually means. Can I expand it out? No, I can't really expand it out. Yeah, so the darker the area, the more heart disease there is. The lighter the area, the less heart disease there is. So it looks like in 73 to 74 in New Mexico, we were much healthier than we are now. Interestingly, this is Doñana County right here. So it looks like we're kind of in good shape if you're going to main campus. But you'll see how it's changed, how the demographics have changed from up here. They're lighter now. You'll see that California, this area, they've gotten unhealthier as the years have gone by and so forth. So this graphic does a really good job. As a mode of communication, it's a much better job than actually just writing about it, okay? I don't know why I keep having to do that. Anyway, so, oops. If we were to discuss this graphic, it would take all of this text that you're seeing here, all this information, perhaps, to talk about what this graphic is supposed to represent. So typically on a standard static image, you need what's called anchor text. In other words, there has to be some explanation for what this graphic means. Okay? In other words, you have to write to the reader, 1973 to 74, this is what was going on here. 2009, 2010, this is what's going on here. Now it's interesting because you're missing how many years between these 2 points. What did it take? What did it look like to get to that point? As a static image, it's not bad. Oh, we can't blow it up. So as a static image, it's not bad, but still it's a static image. It's 2 places in time, and there's a lot of information that's missing. Now, if we were to do this exact same story with an animated GIF, there's a lot more that we can do. And as a matter of fact, there was an animated GIF that did this exact same thing. So this is the exact same GIF, or the exact same image, but it shows it over time. It goes from 1973 to 2010. And we can see how it shifts. And we can see when New Mexico started turning different colors, which is, I believe it was 93. Let's go back through and look. So 73, so it's every 2 years. Oh, about 85 is when we started seeing a shift in New Mexico. Maybe we started eating more unhealthy or something like that. So animated GIFs do a really good job of telling this story, whereas a static image, it does an okay job, but it's not as effective perhaps as showing that shift over time. And that's one of the reasons that we use an animated GIF. All right. So that's what something looks like in those, remember those three terms, what something looks like, how to do something, or what the results should be. This is actually perhaps a combination of what something looks like or what the results are. If this animated GIF was embedded into the story of maybe the spread of fast food chains nationwide, and you could say that with the fast food chains you saw these growing rates of heart disease, well, maybe that's what the results are, right, to the changing diet patterns of U.S. citizens, right? But again, it's not for decoration. It tells a specific stories for a specific purpose. I want to look at another one real quick. I think in my introduction I showed what an internal combustion engine looked like, right? All the different moving parts, how it actually worked. It's a fantastic example of the use of an animated GIF. In other words, you're teaching the reader something. It's easier to learn than it would be if we were just reading it, right? Static text by itself doesn't do enough. Another thing as to how to actually perform an action. That's another use of, really, of any image, of an animated GIF. So this is, for example, how to install a new CPU unit in goodness knows what. But in this example, it was clip the new CPU in place. And that's what this person is doing over and over and over in this loop. Because a reader might be reading the instructions and it says, clip the new CPU in place. Well, how do I do that? Which direction should I go? How much force should I give it? If you show the animated GIF next to that written instruction, next to that anchor, then it leaves little doubt in their mind that this is how it's supposed to work, and they can easily clip it in place, right? So a couple of different uses for animated GIFs, and really it's just those three uses. What something looks like or how something works, how to perform an action, and what the results of an action should be, right? So those are the three things I want you to think about for an animated GIF. Now, in this case, for our assignment, we're going to do something a little bit more lighthearted. I really just want you to practice actually making animated GIFs. There's not a lot of heavy lifting here. It's just this very simple 3, or I guess technically 6 layer GIF on the top, and another layer or another GIF that is going to be made through a website for you. So there's really little to no work involved in either one of those. Now I want these to be turned in on the one that's created through Giphy. You can either download it and then upload it, but it's going to be kind of big. I think this one was about 8 megs or something like that. So you can just submit the link for that one. The one that you make, you're going to have to actually upload, but it should be very, very small. I'll show you how to do that in both GIMP and Photoshop. Just follow my tutorial on how to do that and you'll be fine, okay? If you have any questions about the assignment, if you have any questions about this module, please let me know. But I'm excited for you to learn about animated GIFs. I'm excited for you to think about different ways in how you can use them. Go find a really good example for your discussion, and for you grad students, find a really good outside reading that provides more knowledge than we already have in the readings for this class, okay? Again, let me know if you have any questions. Other than that, that's animated GIFs. Have a great day.